There's something weird about The Mandalorian. Like, yeah, it's got the blasters and bounty hunters and Baby Yoda doing his little frog thing. But if you've actually been watching the details, like really watching, you start to notice this slow burn underneath all the pew-pew and western vibes. Like there's this hidden thread pulling everything toward something bigger. At first you think it's just about Din trying to be a dad, while also murdering every bandit in the Outer Rim. But then you catch little things. Ex-Imperials whispering about cloning. Shady labs buried on desert planets. Dark troopers showing up like it's 2.0 Vader cosplay night. And it starts to click. This show isn't just filling in time between trilogies. It's actively rewiring Star Wars canon while pretending it's not doing anything at all. And meanwhile, the sequel trilogy is just out here yelling Palpatine's back somehow, like that explains everything. No build-up, no foreshadowing. Just lightning fingers and 1,000 Snoke jars in a closet. But The Mandalorian, this show actually takes the time to lay groundwork. It's sneaky. Like it's hiding in the corner of the timeline, fixing all the stuff the movies dropped like hot soup. It's funny because everyone called it a side story. Like, oh, cute, the bounty hunter show, while we wait for the real Star Wars to come back. But turns out, this was the real Star Wars. This was the one stitching everything together. While the main movies were playing catch-up with their own plot twists. You can't tell me Grogu's blood and Dr. Pershing's obsession with midichlorians weren't giant neon signs pointing to something. The thing is, it didn't just expand the world. It gave us characters worth caring about. People who felt real, who actually changed and suffered and grew. It made the galaxy feel alive again. And that's why it hurts a little, because you realize it's doing all this heavy lifting, and no one's really noticing how brilliant the setup actually is. In this video, we're going to break down how The Mandalorian became the perfect prequel to the sequel trilogy without anyone realizing it. We'll connect the dots from cloning labs to Snoke's vat of sadness. From Moff Gideon's Empire fragments to the First Order's rise. And we'll look at how Din Djarin Mitov accidentally carried the weight of the entire Star Wars timeline on his Beskar-covered shoulders. When The Mandalorian first dropped, nobody expected it to be more than a fun little detour. A bounty hunter with daddy issues, babysitting a space frog in a galaxy full of weirdos. But from the very first episode, something felt different. There was a shadow lurking just behind the story. Something bigger than just a guy in shiny armor collecting bounties. We got little hints: Imperial clients speaking with quiet menace, mysterious scientists poking around Grogu's blood, ex-stormtroopers crawling out of the ashes of a broken empire. These weren't just random leftovers. They were the seeds of something. Seeds that would eventually sprout into the twisted tree of the sequel trilogy. And most people didn't even notice. Because while the sequels threw Palpatine's return in our faces with a bold somehow and a shrug, The Mandalorian quietly built the road that got us there. We're talking black market cloning, secret labs, shady ex-Marfs, and creepy remnants playing chess in the Outer Rim. It's all there, just buried under layers of Baby Yoda cuteness. The New Republic is too busy failing upward to see it. The Empire isn't dead, just dormant. And behind it all, some shadowy puppet master is making sure the pieces fall exactly where they need to. Sound familiar? Let's be honest. If the sequels had even half the patience or setup that The Mandalorian delivered, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Instead, we got 3 movies stitched together with duct tape and nostalgia, while Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni were over here doing actual world building, quietly, methodically, like responsible adults in a house full of screaming children. Remember how Rise of Skywalker just dropped that Palpatine bomb like it was a normal Tuesday? No setup, no tension, no logic. Just, he's back, and we were supposed to roll with it. Meanwhile, The Mandalorian showed us scientists. Experimenting with cloning and characters whispering about secrets the galaxy wasn't ready to hear. That's what setup looks like. It's frustrating because the sequel trilogy had all the ingredients but no recipe. The Mandalorian had fewer ingredients and still managed to cook up something that tasted like Star Wars. The Imperial remnant wasn't just a plot device. It was a living, breathing threat being rebuilt in the shadows. They even gave us hints of Project Necromancer, which, let's be real, sounds exactly like a Palpatine resurrection scheme. And yet, none of that context made it into the sequels. Instead of tying these threads together, the films just acted like everything was brand new. Like we were supposed to just accept First Order equals Empire 2.0 and move on. The Mandalorian deserved better, and frankly, so did we. Because by the time the movies showed up with their big reveals, The Mandalorian had already done the heavy lifting, and nobody gave it credit. And that brings us to the sad part. The part where we realize just how much emotional depth got lost between The Mandalorian and the sequels. Din Djarin's journey isn't just about protecting Grogu. It's about witnessing a broken galaxy, trying to pretend it's healed. And that heartbreak runs deeper than most people think. Every planet Din visits is either decaying or rebuilding from scratch. The New Republic shows up late, or not at all. Former Imperials are either in hiding or reformed through programs that feel more like punishment than progress. There's this constant ache in the background, like the galaxy's trying to smile through a scar. Grogu's storyline could have been a bridge to Luke's temple, to Kylo's fall, to the Jedi Order's final collapse. But instead, it's this quietly tragic sidestep. We watch a powerful, Force-sensitive child get trained, loved, and then erased from the sequel timeline like he never mattered. That emotional investment just dissolves into smoke. Characters like Cara Dune, Greef Karga, Bo-Katan, they all fight to restore some version of hope. But we, the audience, already know how this ends. We know what's coming. And that knowledge adds a layer of sadness to every victory they win. It's like cheering for a team we already know is going to lose in overtime. The Mandalorian gave us a chance to care again. And it's kind of heartbreaking that the mainline saga didn't return the favor. But you know what? It's also kind of amazing just how much The Mandalorian pulled off with what it had. It didn't have a Skywalker as the lead. It didn't have a Death Star to blow up, or a Jedi prophecy to fulfill. It had a quiet guy in a helmet, a baby with big eyes, and a galaxy on the edge of recovery. And somehow, it made that feel epic. The production design was flawless. The music slapped harder than it had any right to, and every frame felt like it belonged in Star Wars canon. The Razor Crest wasn't just a ship, it was a moving symbol of independence and survival. And Moff Gideon, he had more menace in one smirk than Snoke had in 2 movies. Then you've got the moments that made everyone sit up. The Darksaber reveal. The surprise Jedi hallway scene. Luke showing up like a force of nature, completely unannounced. Those moments weren't just cool, they were earned. They built off of real character arcs, real tension, and real stakes. Even the smaller episodes, the so-called filler, were filled with world building. We got lore about Mandalore, glimpses of galactic politics, even tidbits about droid rights and cultural shifts, post-Empire. It was quiet excellence, dressed in space western flair. And somehow, all of it felt bigger than just a side story. It felt like the beginning of something that was always meant to matter. And here's where it gets hopeful. Because for all the mess the sequels made, The Mandalorian proves that Star Wars can still be fixed from the inside out. It's a masterclass in patient storytelling, in character growth, in respecting the past while gently nudging it towards something new. Grogu choosing Din over Luke says more about attachment, love, and choice than any speech the Jedi Council ever gave. The Mandalorians uniting, despite their fractured past, shows us that maybe the galaxy doesn't need more chosen ones. Maybe it needs communities that choose each other. We see ordinary people stepping into extraordinary roles. Cobb Vanth defending his town, Peli Motto fixing ships with a wrench and a one-liner, even droids getting a second chance to mean something. That's the kind of hope that sticks. Not the hope that gets handed down by bloodlines, but the kind that grows through action. And the best part is, it's still ongoing. Ahsoka's series, Skeleton Crew, even parts of the Book of Boba Fett. They're all orbiting around this little pocket of storytelling that's trying to heal the saga without rewriting it. It's not flashy, but it's working. Because maybe the secret to saving Star Wars is giving it space to breathe again. But the truth is, no matter how brilliant The Mandalorian gets, it can't rewrite what's already happened. The sequel trilogy is set in stone, and while this show works overtime to justify its existence, the tragedy is that it shouldn't have to. It should have been the bridge, not the band-aid. Din Djarin deserved to be part of a legacy that paid attention to him. Grogu deserved to grow up in a galaxy that remembered his name. Instead, their stories get shoved into the margins of canon, while the main timeline charges ahead with no rearview mirror. And that's the heartbreak of it all. That one of the best things to happen to Star Wars in decades is constantly being used to patch holes it didn't create. It's like watching someone mop up a mess with a masterpiece. The artistry is there. The love is there. But the recognition, still lagging behind. Maybe one day the sequel trilogy will feel complete because of what The Mandalorian built. Maybe fans will look back and say, oh, that's where it all came from. But until then, this show remains the unsung hero of a timeline that doesn't know how lucky it is. And that might be the most Star Wars thing of all. Thank you for watching the whole video. I make videos because of my love for Star Wars and Marvel. I've been asked countless times how I get my subtitles, and I generate them automatically with a tool I built. That same tool can be used here on my website. It's completely free and doesn't require signing up. My website contains the subtitle generator that is perfect for any video. Blogging post, where you can sign up with your email and receive notifications for when I post, and also my 3 channels. Critical Analysis Hub focuses on Star Wars and Marvel movies. Critical Analysis Hub Plus looks at Star Wars and Marvel shows. And Critical Analysis Hub XP centers on video games, like The Last of Us series, Jedi Survivor, and GTA 5. Thank you for being a fan.